You're good, you. Yes, you are. You're good. That's just me talking to Robert De Niro about playing Grandpa in The War with Grandpa. The whole family will love this movie. He'll stop by to tell you why. Does the pandemic have you stressed out? Need a break? Then jump into this movie in which teenagers catch something that causes them to explode. It's spontaneous. Jason Blum, purveyor of the creepiest movies ever, Blumhouse Productions springs back into it with Nocturne. And Disney Plus, an original on the way detailing the remarkable true story based on the hit song of the same name, Clouds. That more on this Extra Butter TV at home.
Yeah. I've pretty much been doing that all week, just waiting for you guys to get here. And did you notice towards the end there, my pants fell down a little bit. Don't DVR back. Hey, how are you? Fall going okay? Life treating you okay? Seeing lots of movies either here or at the movies? Today, one of the rare opportunities to talk about what's new at the box office as more and more movies start to go for it and release at box office to limited audiences. Case in point, The War with Grandpa, the #1 movie in America right now. The movie's got everybody in it, and I had a chance to catch up with everybody to talk about it, including Bob. Yes, we're on a Bob basis now. Take a look. Hi, everybody.
Hey.
Hi, Mark.
All right, let's do some roll call first. Which one of you guys carried the load of Pete's Dragon? Who was the lead in that? Okay, awesome. Which one of you proved to many that they weren't smarter than a fifth grader? Perfect. Okay. Which one of you was in Taxi Driver? Okay. You guys, congratulations on a movie that is precisely, could not be more what the world needs right now. Perfectly dropped at the perfect time. I want to ask each of you what led you to it. Laura, what did you love most about it?
I mean, I have to say the cast. The cast is unbelievable. As an actress, as a fan, I was very much excited by the prospect of getting to work with all these incredible actors and actresses. And the script was so sweet and so heartful as well. So it was a no-brainer for me.
Oaks, you don't seem like somebody that gets intimidated, but if I were to act next to the guy that I see on my screen right now that was in Taxi Driver, I would curl up in fetal position, not able to do anything. What was your first day on the set with this guy like?
Our first day was not on the set, actually. We were in rehearsal, and it was a crazy day. Definitely an interesting day, and one that I probably won't forget ever. But Mr. De Niro said, hey, you can call me Bob, and of course that's crazy in and of itself. But then after working with Tim, I think we kind of developed a dynamic, and it worked really well. And I thoroughly enjoyed working with Mr. De Niro.
Yeah, I liked it. What could have been forced and hit on so many tropes didn't. It was organic. It worked. The comedy's fun. Mr. De Niro, you commit to everything you're in. What was the scene 10, 20 movies from now when you look back to this that made it different, that you remember the most on the day?
The dodgeball scene. There were a couple that I liked that were good between Oaks and I. But the dodgeball scene was a lot of fun.
Mr. De Niro, can I call you Bob?
Yes.
When you were a kid, Bob, did you ever prank any elder? Like, I came from a generation, you don't prank the parents because they get out the belt. But did you ever prank?
Yeah, playing around, but not prank. The way, no, I'm not. That's not my thing.
Well, you guys, this movie is great for any season. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and be safe, you guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
The first question, always the most telling. Where are you and how are you?
Okay, I'm at home in Malibu, and I am in absolute heaven because I'm here with you and Cheech, and I feel that this movie we made is going to be an amazing joke to what's going on in the world right now. So I'm very happy.
Amen. Top that, Cheech.
I'm out in Joshua Tree in the Mojave Desert, half a block from the national park. So I look out on cactus and jackrabbits.
Congratulations, you two, on this film. I think you touched on it, Jane. It's exactly what the world needs right now. And I love that it's a generational comedy. It brings us together during a time where some of us have to be apart, right, Jane?
Exactly. And you know, the interesting thing about it is that there's no kind of bad language or anything like that. Normally, that's in everything we watch these days. And it's not missed at all. I mean, it's edgy enough and realistic enough and hilarious enough for all age groups. And I relate to everything that's in it.
Yeah, oh, really? Could you touch on like one specific thing for people who haven't seen it that you relate to specifically?
The fact that when you are, I'm about to be 70, right? And you're very independent, you've done everything yourself. And then the whole idea that you have to actually end up living with your daughter or your son, I mean, that's frightening. To lose your independence, I think it's a tough one. And I think Robert De Niro does such a brilliant job because, yes, he's lost it because he can't, even do the checkout thing when he's buying things, electronic checkout. He's trying to make the most of it and try to be respectful.
Cheech, tell me of your struggles territorially with those jackrabbits. Similar?
Yeah. Lots of grandchildren. Would you like living with your daughter?
No, I don't think so. But the grandkids, they're with their mother makes it much better because she wrangles them, and I do all the golden grandpa stuff. So that's always good, But they just left. They were just here for almost a week, and it was wonderful having them because they live in Colorado, so I don't get to see them as much as I want to. So
it's nice watching them grow up. I was going to say the same thing about the two of you. Lovely people, lovely movie. Thanks for hanging out with me.
Thank you very much.
Here's what I loved about The War with Grandpa. When I was a kid, we had movies that the whole family could go to. And this is not edgy comedy. It's not Meet the Fockers. This is going to be more like Harry and the Hendersons, where nobody's going to be offended. You can take the kids, you can take Grandma, you can take Grandpa, everybody in between. Now playing in theaters everywhere. Want to stay home with the family? Might I suggest this? When we come back, we'll talk about Clouds, the new Disney Plus original based on the song, and of course the incredible viral sensation video that brought it to us. Next. And there you are, and welcome back to Extra Butter. Thanks for hanging out. All right, on this very movie show, something special comes along right about now. This is a really special movie, and I don't mean special and heartwarming in the way that maybe something Hallmarky would be headed your way, where I'd say, and now a very special Hallmark presentation. No, this is truly a remarkable movie. It's called Clouds. I've got to give you the backstory on it. About 7 years ago, you might remember a kid that was terminally ill, Zach Sobiech. On his 17th birthday, he created a song called Clouds. He and his friends dropped it on YouTube. It became a viral sensation, the #1 most downloaded song on iTunes for a period of time, played on radio stations all over the world. And then, sadly, on his 18th birthday, he passed away. Well, his mom wrote this brilliant book about it, and now it's a major motion picture. I get choked up just talking about it. Finn Argus plays Zach brilliantly. The mom played by Neve Cambell from Party of Five and, of course, Scream movies. And I can't wait for you to see it. It's this week on Disney Plus. I had a chance to talk to the two of them about it. Take a look. Where are you and how are you? Starting with you, Neve.
I'm in Los Angeles with my family, and I'm doing well, thank you.
And I am having a pretty good day so far. This has been a lot of fun.
Awesome. You guys, I just literally, this might be the freshest I've ever been off a movie. I literally just finished In Credits moments ago. This might be exactly what the world needs right now. So thank you both.
I think it's really timely. Zach's message to, live your life to the fullest and be in the present and be in the moment and live with joy is so important at the moment. I think especially with the pandemic, where so many of us are spinning in anxiety and fear and panic mode. I think it's really important to be reminded to stop and be present with those around us and appreciate those around us and live with gratitude and not let our heads spin out, which is so easy to do at the moment.
Amen. And Finn, you were so remarkable in this movie, but what shoes you had to fill? Any pressure?
Oh, yeah, just a little bit. Immense shoes to fill. And Zach was such an inspiring young man. And when I first heard about his story, it was back in 2013, and I attached to it immediately. Me and my family were personally connected, and that it echoed some things that were happening in our life. So when I got this audition, it just felt kind of meant to be. And especially with what was still going on in my family, my aunt was coming to a head with her battle with brain cancer. and she'd been sick from before I was born. So to have an opportunity to put those emotions into something creatively was not only cathartic, but just a huge honor, and also so much fun, because ultimately Zach was a very fun-loving and goofy kid, and I got to play and address those difficult emotions with a sense of positivity and poise and strength, just like Zach.
Yeah, I get the feeling if you guys coexisted, you'd be friends. Like, I feel like you can only play the character to a certain extent, and a part of the character is you. I feel like you guys are conjoined in that way.
I would have to agree with you, and I've actually had his family and friends tell me the same thing, and I feel like we are friends in a lot of ways. You know, I haven't had the opportunity to meet him in person, but I feel very connected to his spirit, and he's guided me through every step of this process.
Amen. And Neve, have you spent time with Mom? Have you guys bonded?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We've become dear friends. I love that woman. She texted me last night because she knew we were about to do this press junket, and she was just so gracious and lovely. And she told me that she and Rob watched the movie 5 times in a row when they first got it, and that they're so happy with it, which to us, you know, to the cast and the crew and to Justin was our biggest goal was to honor their story and tell it in a light in which they'd be happy. So to have their praise and have them be happy with it is such a relief.
You know, Neve, I've sat toe-to-toe with you at the in-person press junkets for everyone, all but maybe one major motion picture that you've done. And so I would love to ask this, 10, 20 years from now, when you think back to this movie, what's the scene or the day on the set you're going to remember?
You know, it would be the scene where we're all in the audience watching Zach. That was a phenomenal experience. And, you know, Finn will speak to this, but, you know, everybody was there. It was Finn's parents were there, and Laura and Rob and all of their family were there, and all the friends, and Sammy was in the audience, and we were all there singing to Finn on the stage. And it was magic. It was, you know, the energy was certainly buzzing. There was a lot of love in the room, and I will remember that.
We got to wrap it up. Finn, since we're talking about singing, will you sing even one note of Clouds as we wrap?
We'll go up, 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 but I'll fly a little higher. Go up in the clouds because the view's a little nicer.
Yeah.
I promised I wasn't going to cry. I broke my promise, you guys. Bless you for bringing this movie and everybody around it. It really is a gift to the world when we need it the most. So thank you.
Thank you so
much. Thanks for taking the time.
You're going to need boxes and boxes of tissues to get through it, but in the end, I assure you, your spirits will soar. Yeah, I'm talking in cliches, but I mean it. This movie is a game changer, a Disney Plus original. Clouds, check it out this week. All right, let's shift gears a little bit. When we come back, something totally different. This will get under your skin in a totally different way. Jason Blum, Blumhouse Productions brings you Nocturne, a very scary, very creepy movie. We'll catch up with its stars next. Hey, welcome back to Extra Butter. Be warned, we're now in the very creepy part of the show. It's October. We should be talking about creepy movies pretty much exclusively, so for the next couple of minutes, we're gonna. Speaking of which, Nocturne. If you watched last week, you might remember I talked about Jason Blum of Blumhouse Production, bringing 4 movies, dropping them all at the same time to Amazon Prime. Nocturne is one of them, and it's oh so creepy. In it, you got Sydney Sweeney. You probably know her from, most recently, Euphoria. Madison Eisman, you probably know opposite Dwayne Johnson and Kevin Hart in the Jumanji movies of late. And then, what am I talking about? She's also an Annabelle creation. You might also know her from Goosebumps, so she gets the creepy. We caught up with each other via our homes and Zoom to talk about it. Hey, good morning, you guys. The first question, the most important, how are you and where are you? Starting with you, Sydney.
I am good. I've not waken up this early in a very, very long time. I am in LA right now.
I'm also great. I'm a little tired, but I have my coffee, and I am down the street from Sydney, about 30 minutes in LA.
You guys, congratulations on this. You talk about lack of sleep. I've got no sleep since seeing this movie. There's something about it that's under my skin. This movie's creepy. Sydney, when you were reading the script, did it send chills down your spine?
Yeah, it definitely did. I mean, Juliet goes through quite a lot, and it reminded me of Black Swan, which I'm a huge fan, and that movie definitely creeped me out. And I was like, this could be really, really cool and really good.
Madison, you're not any kind of rookie to this sort of thing, but what in it stood out for you? What are you most looking forward to?
I loved all the psychological elements. I loved the journal and just kind of like the direction that takes Juliet. I also was a huge fan of the music and just how menacing it was. I listened to all the music we'd be playing as I was reading the script for the first time.
But the music is the background of this movie, and it's brought to you by the people, you know, who know a little something about Academy Award nominated movies involving music. So with that said, which of the two of you is more musical by nature?
Oh, I don't know which one of us would be. I mean, I was classically trained when I was younger. I was brought up singing classical music.
I feel like we've had different experiences.
Yeah, we have very different upbringings with music.
I was in orchestra in high school, and I've played string instruments and guitar and ukulele. So I feel like just different worlds of the music spectrum, we have it covered.
So I have to tap dance so much because I don't want to plot spoil in this, but for each of you, what's that one moment you can't wait for audiences to see? A moment that might not plot spoil. If you get dangerously plot spoiling, I'm going to be bleeping you.
When she's walking through the schoolyard carrying something.
There's one part where it just like, it's... How do I say this? It literally like jumps off into like some dark stuff. It jumps off.
That's a pretty good. I picked up what you were talking about.
Okay. You'll figure it out later.
Awesome. And then 10, 20 movies from now, what's the day on the set that you're going to remember the most? Madison?
A day where, without spoiling too much, I opened the door to wake my sister up, and we could not stop laughing the entire day. We barely got through that scene. I don't know how we did it. Every time I watch it, I'm like, oh my gosh. But that's the day. That's the day.
All right. Sydney?
Probably the same day. I mean, there were a lot of days, but that one was really funny. We could not keep a straight face to save our lives.
You guys are awesome. Thanks for making this treat for us. It's just what the world needs right now. A great distraction.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks, you guys.
They are awesome. So much we couldn't talk about. But suffice to say, the poster alone, you got an upside down person with blood running out of their eyes. You pretty much know if Nocturne's the movie for you or not. If you're looking for it, it's on Amazon Prime right now. When we come back, let's keep the creepy going. Imagine people in a pandemic. Not too hard to imagine, but I promise you the pandemic and spontaneous, far worse than anything you can imagine. No matter how much you can imagine. We'll talk with its stars next. Hey, welcome back to Extra Butter. What did you grab during the break? You got a snack? What you got? Can I have? That looks pretty good. Break off a sample of that for me. Make sure you serve it with extra butter. All right, 'tis the month of creepy, as I mentioned. Might I suggest this? One of the creepiest movies, maybe suffice to say the bloodiest movie I've ever seen. It's called Spontaneous. At the same time, there's a beautiful love story in the middle of all of it. Catherine Langford, where do you know her from? 13 Reasons Why. This guy, Charlie Plummer, you might know him from Boardwalk Empire. The dad in this movie is played by one of the funniest people on the planet, which is ironic because he's not very funny in this at all. Ron Hubel, if you ever catch his stand-up, do. It's brilliant. You also know him from the series Transparency. Personal questions off the top. Where are you?
I'm in a high school. I live in this high school.
Yeah.
And I'm just chilling out. You know, there's nobody here, so I have the run of the place. No, I'm in my garage. Can you believe this technology? I got a green screen behind me. It looks so real.
You're the dad in this movie, and you do a great job. And thanks for being a part of this nice distraction from the real things.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, super fun, crazy movie, super bloody, super funny. I was told that I was going to be covered in blood the whole movie. Unfortunately, I think I'm the only one that doesn't get bloody in this movie. But yeah, Spontaneous is about high school kids that start to spontaneously combust, and no one knows why. No one can figure out why. So starts off crazy, bloody, and dark, and then becomes this super funny, sweet love story. And then by the end of it, you're just so invested. I'm telling you, the way this movie ends, you're like, yeah, it's such a great release by the end of the movie.
I was so pumped up at the end of it. It worries me about my sanity. Should I feel like I have problems that I loved it so much?
There are very few movies about spontaneous combustion. I don't know why that is, but yeah, it's funny because it really is almost a metaphor for what we're going through right now. Obviously, when we made this movie, we had no idea the craziness that we would be living through. But the movie to me almost feels like a guide for kids for how to get through this crazy, chaotic time, in the world. But it's not heavy, and it's not like too much of a reminder of what we're going through. It's a great distraction. And I'm just psyched that there's more great comedy right now. I think people are really hungry for cool, smart comedy right now. And that's what this movie delivers. So yeah, hopefully people check it out on Amazon and on Apple TV. You can watch it anywhere in your living room. Don't go anywhere. Just watch it on your couch.
Exactly. And while you're watching it, despite the spontaneous combustion, isn't it kind of a public service announcement at the end of the day?
It feels there is a part of it that feels like a public service announcement. And yeah, but one silver lining to all of this is you can just watch stuff at home. You don't have to go anywhere. But yeah, I was so hungry for new. I feel like I've watched everything on Netflix. So now that this movie is coming out, I think people are so hungry for comedy. Mm-hmm. People are already kind of going nuts for this one online. So I'm psyched to be a part of it.
Yeah, you should be. You're great in it. And thanks for providing the distraction and being with us on Extra Butter today. Appreciate you.
Oh, man. Thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
There you go. Lovely gentleman, Ron Hubel. One of the funniest people I've ever seen doing stand-up. Not so much in the movie. As the dad, he just looks kind of concerned the whole time. All right, that's it for our show. Thank you so much for coming along for the ride. Be sure and jump over to YouTube if you're not watching it that way. Like and subscribe to the men and women in 168 different countries and territories worldwide watching on AFN. Thank you so much for your service. Thank you for all you do being on the front lines in every way. All right, all I got for now. Yeah, I'm going to go back to dancing. You do the same.